You've been told that motivation is the key to fitness. But let me tell you the gospel truth. Motivation is the biggest lie in fitness. And today I'm going to show you why it is so and what to do instead. So just a quick one. My name is Raziik and welcome to Get Fit with Raziik. So with all my years of working out and being consistent at the gym, you don't need only motivation to be consistent at the gym. Have you ever had that Monday morning fire whereby you said, okay, today I'm going all in, the motivation is high, the energy is high, go Monday, you go Tuesday, by the time you realize Wednesday, you are lazy, you don't feel like going, by the time you realize you stop going to the gym. That is because motivations are emotions and emotions are not constant. Emotions change each and every day. Today, the energy is there. Tomorrow, you don't feel like it. Yes, that's how motivation works. So if you are going to rely on motivation to be consistent at the gym, then you are going to be inconsistent, and inconsistency kills progress. So what is actually motivation? Motivation is the fire that help us make the first step in whatever we are trying to do. So if you plan on maybe starting a new skill, it is that motivation, that fire, that energy, that excitement that will help you to make the first steps. There are two types of motivation. The first one is intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation, they are the type of motivation that comes from within. Whenever we generate, satisfaction from doing something, whenever we feel good about doing something, that is where we get our motivation from. So for example, you go to the gym, feel good about yourself, you have stronger muscles and you feel good about yourself. This will motivate you to continue, going to the gym. Take it like someone who is learning how to play the piano. He generates excitement and pleasure from playing the piano. So he can play the piano for a very long period of time, continue playing the piano because his motivation is derived from within. And I said because he gets pleasure from it. Then we have the second type of motivation, which is extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is a type of motivation which is gotten from the outside sphere. Maybe we do something in order to get recognition. So for example, somebody can go to the gym just to look good so that he will get compliments from maybe girls or get compliments from people. So that person gets his motivation from outside his sphere, from recognition to compliment from people and all that. Imagine, for example, you can take it like a salesperson who is, who works hard in order to hit his sales target. This person is motivated by the fact that he's going to get probably a promotion or a recognition from the boss or something like that. So this motivation is derived from external sources. So these two types of motivation plays a key role in terms of helping us to initiate tasks. For example, we set schedule or we make plans of learning a new skill. So this type of motivation can help us to make the first step. But what will actually keep us going is actually the problem. And you don't need motivation for that. You need consistency for that. So how does motivation works in the brain? When we understand how motivation works in the brain, then we understand why motivation is the biggest lie in fitness. How does motivation work in the brain? Motivation is tied to the chemical compound that our brain releases called the dopamine. Anytime we do something that we feel good about or we get satisfaction from doing something, that is when we get a dopamine hit. When we get a dopamine hit, we feel good about ourselves. We get pleasure from it. And by so doing, we'll be consistent in doing that thing. And that thing will force us, that dopamine hit that we get will force us to continue doing that particular thing for a very long period of time. And by so doing, this thing will become a habit. This dopamine is part of the brain reward system. The brain reward system is that system that helps us feel good or get pleasure from doing something. And that's how biologically we humans we are wired. So when we do something that we get pleasure from, the brain reward us by getting releasing that chemical called dopamine so that we feel good about ourselves and we continue doing that particular day. Imagine someone who enjoys playing game. Whenever the person plays the game, he gets some pleasure, he gets excitement. The adventure of the game and all that, it excites him, he gets pleasure from it and he gets satisfaction. So that's how dopamine works and that's how motivation works. But here is the catch. Dopamine is only released when we get results or pleasure from doing something. So that is how addiction is created. So dopamine in of itself is not bad, but the actions that lead to the dopamine hit makes it bad. For instance, someone who enjoys playing piano because of the pleasure he gets, the satisfaction he gets from creating music and all that, and he gets addicted to the piano. But normally we use addiction for the negative, aspect of it. For example, someone who smokes, he gets highness from smoke. I'm not encouraging smoke, but the person gets some kind of pleasure from smoking. There's this dopamine hit. When the dopamine hits like that, it will continue to move the person to continue doing that particular thing, so that in at the end of the day, it becomes a habit. So dopamine in of itself is not bad, but the actions that lead to the dopamine hit, is what makes it bad. So here's the catch: there's only dopamine hit when you get a result. But in fitness, if you're a beginner and you're now starting to go to the gym, or you're now starting working out, you actually don't have any result to show. So going to the gym in of itself, you don't get pleasure out of it, because in going to the gym, it's only pains that you get. And because since you don't have any result to show, biologically there is no dopamine hit. And when there's no dopamine hit, it means that you'll be demotivated to continue going to the gym, because you are not getting any dopamine hit, because you are not getting any result from going to the gym, because you are a beginner. So this is how motivation is the biggest lie in fitness, especially if you're a beginner now starting. So basically, this is how motivation fails in fitness. So if motivation fails in fitness, what work instead? Consistency. And how do you build consistency? Let's keep it simple. Let's break it down into three simpler steps. The first step is build strong habits. How do you build strong habits? The one way you can build strong habits is having a plan and setting schedule. Majority of you set vague schedule, which I was doing, and it was not working for me. You need to set a defined and specific schedule. For example, Mondays and Tuesdays and probably Thursday and Friday, exactly 6 p.m. I will be at the gym. When you set a specific goal, there's a whole lot of neurological process that goes on. It is just like setting a specific goal. When you set a specific goal, you are engaging the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that help us to set goals and help us to achieve it. And the prefrontal cortex, will create new, stronger bonds between neurons that is going to help you to create new behaviors and help you to stick to it in order to achieve your results. So when you set a specific schedule, okay, Mondays and Tuesday, I will be at the gym at 6 p.m., exactly 6 p.m. When you do that, it reinforces the information on the brain, and the prefrontal cortex is engaged to create stronger bonds between neurons and to help you to achieve it. How many of us, for example, if we are going to sleep, we tell ourselves, okay, tomorrow I'm going to wake up by 4 a.m. and exactly 4 a.m. we woke up. How did that happen without any alarm? It happens to me a lot of times. The reason being that when you tell yourself that, okay, I'm going to wake up exactly 4 a.m., you've engaged the brain. You've given a defined specific target to the brain. So the brain will create newer, stronger neurons that is going to help you to achieve that target, as opposed to when you are setting a vague target. Okay, I'm going to wake up early in the morning, but you end up waking up late, because you are setting a vague schedule which the brain biologically will not respond to it. Because in order to involve your subconscious mind, you need to set a predefined specific target, and that is what is going to help you to engage the part of the brain that help you to set goals and help you increase the possibility that that goal will be achieved. The second step, track progress. I cannot overemphasize this part of the process. If you're a new beginner going to the gym, trust me, you don't have any result to show. And since you are a new beginner, for you to be consistent at the gym, you need to have an influx of dopamine hit. And since you are not getting any result, it's difficult for you to get that dopamine hit. So what you can do is that you can use calendar, you can use journal. Anytime you finish working out, you tick, okay, today I was able to go to the gym, I tick tomorrow. So this helps you to keep a streak, and this streak will help you to get a mini dopamine hit, which over a period of time will build a momentum for you to get the actual dopamine hit, which will help you to be consistent at the gym. So this is a small exercise but has a profound benefit in order to help you to be consistent at the gym. So you need to keep journaling, take calendar, you have a calendar or something like that. I personally was having a calendar when I was starting my gym. Anytime I finish a workout, I will take, and I kept my streak going on to the point that right now I don't use it anymore, because I've built my consistency over a period of time. So I don't need to do that. Anytime it is time for gym, I go there exactly that time. I'll go there and work out. But if you're a new beginner, you need to do that in order to get that mini dopamine hit that is going to help you. This is how the human brain works. The human brain always wants to get reward for doing something. Either get pleasure or satisfaction. Anytime we do something and we don't get those rewards, there's no dopamine hit. And when there's no dopamine, we stop doing that thing. So you need to keep that dopamine hit by keep track of your progress by making a journal or calendar. You take a calendar to keep your streak going, which is going to help you be consistent. The third step is to start small. Instead of working 2 hours in your gym day, just do 30 minutes, 20 minutes. You see, when you're a beginner working out or going to the gym, I always encourage people, and I will encourage you to focus on building your consistency muscle. Don't focus on the intensity of the training. Focus on showing up. Focus on building that consistency muscle that will keep you through the journey. Because remember, going to the gym and fitness or working out, it is a journey. It's a process. You need that consistency muscle because they will reach a time which will be very difficult for you to consist. And you need that consistency muscle for you to keep going. So I will urge you to start small. The goal is to show up. Even if it is 15 minutes, even if it is 10 minutes, even if it is 20 minutes, just go and do something. What this does to the brain is very profound. It gives the information to the brain that you are still being consistent. Even if it is 5 minutes, go to the gym, go and do something. The goal is not to intensify your training. The goal is to be consistent. The goal is to show up each and every day. That is the goal. So if you're a beginner trying to work out for the first 1 month or 2 months, focus on showing up. Focus on building that consistency muscle. That is going to help you to show up each and every day for the journey that you've chosen to take. So start small. No effort is small. Just start small, and over a period of time, you will build a momentum. And when you finally build the momentum, you can intensify your training, and that's where actually the results come. Remember, little drops of water make the mighty ocean. Rome was not built in one day. It is a gradual process, and you need to master that consistency muscle. You need to build that consistency muscle that is going to help you to show up each and every day. The goal, remember, the goal is to show up, not to intensify your training. I have a challenge for you. So this week, commit to 3 workouts. So sit down, plan, and set a defined goal. Set a defined schedule. When you set a defined schedule, make sure that you go through. When you go through it, for example, okay, Saturdays and Sunday, I will go to the gym 5 p.m. Exactly 5 p.m. you have to be on the gym. When you do that, you've reaffirmed your schedule to the brain. And right now, the brain will try to create stronger bonds of neurons that is going to help you to increase the possibility that that particular goal or schedule that you set will be achieved. So this is the challenge I have for you. So make sure that you go through this challenge successfully. Remember, the goal is to show up. The goal is to build that consistency muscle, which is going to help you in the long run. Because gym or working out is a lifestyle, not a 2-week experiment. If you've watched the video up to this point, I will urge you to like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and comment below consistency wins so that I will know that you are with me in this consistency journey of helping us to achieve our fitness goals. And remember, consistency beats motivation. I will see you in the next video.